Hello, welcome to the Two Fridas, Las Dos Fridas discussion. I am Mrs. Morin, and I'm here with
Mrs. Wyatt.
Let's begin with the title. So once again, this is the Two Fridas, Las Dos Fridas, and the artist is Frida Kahlo. The period is modern, and the materials, techniques, this is oil on canvas. Now let's go ahead and go into why. So there is something that is very obvious, and if you don't know who Frida is, this is her, right?
Yes. She's almost like split in half.
Yes. She's, in fact, she pretty much only painted herself. If you look at these pictures that we have here, she's in every single one of these pictures.
Her artwork is practically a biography of her life.
Yes. And if we look at what she says and why she says she paints herself, there's a quote where she says, "I am so often alone because I'm the person I know best." So she's basically talking about she knows herself better than she knows anyone else.
Right.
And better than anyone knows her. And she's so often alone that that's what she paints.
And there's a saying by authors to write about what you know. And I think this is true with artists too, that if you want to make a painting that has real meaning, that if you do something about something you know and you have like skin in the game on it, you're going to have a better painting.
Mm-hmm. And so this picture that we're looking at here, it actually is related to her divorce from her husband, who was Diego Rivera, and she was very unhappy about that divorce.
Yes.
And you can see here that it looks very gruesome. She's holding her own hand.
Yes.
And you can't really see from the cold expression in her face, but you do get a sense that something isn't right in this painting.
Right.
That the background shows kind of stormy weather. And one thing, too, that's interesting is the different clothing that's being worn here.
Yes.
So would you like to talk a little bit about that, Mrs. Wyatt?
Well, before she met Diego, she dressed in very European attire, which was very fashionable at that particular time. But Diego was so interested in having Hispanic and mostly Mexican. He wanted that heritage to become very important. And so he felt like when he married Frida that she should stop wearing the European clothing and become proud of who she was, which is a Mexican woman. And he wanted her to wear the more traditional dress. And, of course, he didn't want her to pluck her eyebrows or get rid of her hair under her nose type thing. Mm-hmm. So you'll notice that she always has a little bit of a mustache looking, yes, which is very common in, if you're a little darker skinned, yes, that shows a little more. And so, a lot of women will wax, but she didn't. Mm-hmm. And so she wore her hair in a more traditional style, mm-hmm, but it was simply being proud of who she was.
Mm-hmm. And we can see actually in these, this photograph here, there's actually a second purpose for wearing this traditional attire. Yes. Frida Kahlo had polio. She also was in a terrible accident, and she had to wear basically back braces, all kinds of...
Yeah, I think there's images of those,
yes,
that you can show.
I have to go back just a little bit.
There we go.
You can see some here.
So can you imagine having to wear this all the time?
Yes, but the indigenous attire, you can see it hangs fairly loose around the waist, and it would have hid what she was wearing underneath.
Right. And she wouldn't have to worry about wearing a corset, mm-hmm, and getting her waistline extremely small, which was popular in those times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. Now, the last thing on here is the patron and audience. She did not have a patron for her work. However, we talked a little bit about the audience. It's not specifically listed in an article, but you can kind of look at this and think about what she's documenting here are different times in her life. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you can think of it in the sense of if you're writing in a journal, you don't necessarily write in a journal for somebody else to read.
Right.
The journal is for you. And it's to help you kind of deal with things you're going through.
It's almost like coping, learning how to cope with the bad things that happen, that you put them on paper. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she was in a bed so often, that she had so much private time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is before television, you know, she could have read, but she chose to do all these paintings, mm-hmm. which kind of made her think about who she was. It's very much a self-discovery.
Mm-hmm. So, there she is. I am the person I know best. And
great way to end.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy.